camera.
You good over there, Rodriguez?
I'm good, my friend. Hello. Welcome, my friends. It's Saturday, it's 6:80.
Holiday episode.
Not holiday episode.
Happy Halloween!
Saturday Sanctuary. It is a little Halloween edition. You know, you got Gordon Bombay, you got Charlie Conway here. My good guy, Michael Harris II. And Carlos
Enrique Rodriguez de Juana Montoya the third.
You heard it here first, baby. But we are here on a Spooky Thursday, ready to get you guys well prepared regardless. So it's not a Spooky Saturday on your wallets. Make sure you make some good bets. Make sure you're knowledgeable so that when you lean back in your Saturday sanctuary, you are fully prepared, baby. So we're going to get right to it. First and foremost, how y'all guys feeling today on this good Halloween? Thug is free. Demon home.
Free Jeff.
They free young Thug! Thug it.
They gonna kick us off.
Welcome home, Almighty Slime.
It's not even.
Niggas going. Slat.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, you know, we did say screen free Thug until it's backwards, but letting him out on Halloween is insane. But we'll let it ride. We'll let it rock out.
Spooky season for real.
Yeah, that's spooky season for real. But we'll go ahead and get right into it. We got our big three games this week that we're going to go over. Of course, Ohio State going to Penn State. We got Pitt playing SMU. They'll be playing SMU at their house. And then, of course, we got the cocktail party, baby, going on. UGA versus Florida. We'll talk about those big three games in detail. And then we'll go ahead and do our fast forward real quick for you guys. It's a good show coming up. Let's go ahead and start off with Ohio State going to Beaver Stadium against Penn State. They are favored by 3.5 on the road, which is a big one. I think this game right here definitely will decide what happens with the Big Ten. May not decide the number one seed for sure, with Oregon holding that spot down. But I think this pretty much decides if Ohio State will be going into the Big Ten championship or not. We'll hop right into it talking about Ohio State's offense versus Penn State's defense. Of course, Ohio State's offense, they're top 10 in the nation in pretty much all three categories that I would consider to be important. You got points per game, got yards per game, and then you pretty much also have yards per play. They're top 10 in all of those. And then you got Penn State defense. I mean, they top 10 too. So, I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest matchup. That's why I want to talk about that one first. Carlos is not a big believer in Penn State speed, although they are still the fastest team to get to the quarterback, or if not, top three fastest teams to get to the quarterback this year. I don't know what else you want to know about speed as far as that goes, whether they're getting there by power or speed, they're getting there. We'll start off with you, Carlos. Who you taking in that? Who has the edge, Ohio State's offense or Penn State's defense?
Ohio State by 50.
Oh my God.
50 is absurd. But they definitely win this game by 7 or more. I believe so easily. I don't think Penn State, like Kaden said, I don't think they got the speed for it. I haven't seen them play anybody who had speed that makes me because, you know, Texas had speed too. Shit, they played Texas and that speed ain't look that fast no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, Penn State ain't played nobody that makes me say, you know, they might not be slow after all. No, them boys are slow. Them boys they're not efficient enough on offense. They're not efficient enough on defense. And, yeah, Ohio State by 7 or more easy.
I mean, bro, I ain't going to lie to you. They played decent teams. They may have not played the greatest of the great, but they played some formidable teams. They've had formidable opponents. 14.3 points allowed. 267 yards allowed per game. And then they allow four yards per play. I mean, all of those are top 10 in the nation. I'm not saying that they're playing the greatest, again. But they're playing formidable opponents. You know, they're not playing Little Valley Western. They are playing some good teams. They're playing
USC.
Huh?
USC.
I mean, y'all have used that to hype LSU up. So we can't say USC is that bad in one conversation and then say
Wait, who is y'all? I said LSU was mid.
It may not be.
But I mean,
necessarily. He's saying
They
that.
can't. There's
consensus,
only
the
so many they can
consensus.
beat in top 10. They're top 10. There's only so many they can beat though. But I mean, point is, I think Penn State's defense is a formidable opponent for Ohio State, and we'll see. So we got Carlos. He's going Ohio State offense by 50. What you feeling, Bob? Charlie, sorry.
Ohio State's offense is gonna be pretty decent. I mean, they're gonna run the ball. They looked way different this year than they did last year. I don't know if it has to do with their quarterbacks, but they're gonna rely on that two-headed monster. Henderson, he got big games against Penn State. I think he killed them for 150 last year. The year before that, I want to say a long touchdown to seal the game. So I mean, he gonna do what he do. I think it's gonna come down to Will Howard. I mean, can Will Howard make the big plays when he got to make the big plays? He got the receivers to make them, so hopefully he makes them. But we gonna see. I mean, I'm taking Ohio State's offense overall in the game, but I think Penn State's defense is gonna come out and smack him in the mouth. But at the end of the day, I'm still taking Ohio State's offense just because I trust a two-headed monster more. But that hurts me to say it. Whew.
I mean, I think you made a very valid point though with Will Howard. I think he is the X factor in this game for sure. If he doesn't have a good game, I mean, we've heard that before. Carson Beck, we thought if he didn't have a good game, there's no way on God's green earth that Georgia beats Texas. Last week, I mean, technically, Texas A&M starting quarterback didn't have a great game, but their backup quarterback came in and had a good game. So I guess that's kind of null and void. But a lot of times we do feel like if your quarterback isn't having a great game or a good game, at least you are.
Is insane. Oh, nah.
Hey, whose man? Welcome to Saturday Sanctuary, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, yeah.
Whose man is this?
Oh my lord.
Yo, we got Charlie Conway, we got Gordon Bombay, you know what I'm saying? And I am your host, K. Will, in the building.
Hey, troll for that. Oh god.
That was an A1 troll. I can't even lie. That was an A1 troll. But
I feel left out now that I don't have a Charlie Conway jersey.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He did you dirty.
Yeah.
Why y'all don't got the captain on the shoulder? Who's really real?
I don't know. I took this out of trade closet. Yeah, I'll tell you where I got mine from. The stolen
I guess
ball.
I'm the big dog. I guess I am the captain of them all at the end of the day. But back to Will Howard though. I think if he doesn't have a good game, it's possibly not going to be a good game for Ohio State. But if they run the ball like they were supposed to be running the ball this year, I don't think it'll matter. GP, how are you feeling?
Definitely think Penn State's defense is real, but I'm probably more comfortable believing in Ohio State's offense in this particular matchup. Definitely do think it comes down to Will Howard. It's very funny. I think at the beginning of the year, I wasn't as high on Will Howard, but as I stated, even before the Oregon game, I've been really impressed with what he's been doing lately. So I think it's going to come down to him if he can make throws.
Hmm.
He has the talent around him. And I'm going to be honest, I just think this will be an interesting matchup because I'm not certain Penn State will be able to keep up in a shootout necessarily. They're going to have to muddy up the game, especially if Drew Aller's not available.
Yeah, definitely if Drew Aller's not available. I think he'll be available, but it's about his healthiness. If he can throw the ball, I think they can have a balanced game. I think that's in their best interest anyways, to have a balanced game. Definitely not getting a shootout. I don't think either one of them teams can win in a shootout because I don't see Penn State's defense letting it go there. But if Penn State's defense is not really as good as we thought they were and they don't play top 10, then it could get there. And Ohio State would definitely have the edge there. But I don't see it getting there.
I feel like there's only two options for this game. But I'm going to let that be at the end.
See, it's tough too because even though Penn State's defense, I don't think they have to be for real because you got to look at it even like I did say it depends on the running backs, but look at it last week. Ohio State struggled to run the ball against Nebraska. And if Penn State has a better defense than Nebraska. So I mean, if they can't get the run game going, that's going to be bad for Will Howard because then he's going to be in drop back sack mode. And then another note is Ohio State's down to their third left tackle. So I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Penn State attacks them with that.
Yeah, that's well noted. But we'll go ahead and move forward. Swap ends of the field. We'll talk about Penn State's offense versus Ohio State's defense. Ohio State's defense is not as good as people thought they would be, namely Evan. They were supposed to be playing top 10 all the time. I feel like this is a case where numbers can lie. I mean, they are top 10. Technically, they're top 5 in every category. But, I mean, like we saw last week, Nebraska put up what? Not Nebraska, but we saw last week it wasn't looking good for them. So,
Yeah.
You said what?
It was just more of a struggle than what was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was much more of a struggle than it should have been. I mean, they're technically number 2 in the nation in both points per game allowed and yards per game allowed. Yards per game sitting at 255. And then, of course, yards per play, they're allowing 4.2. So really just 0.10 above what Penn State is, 1.10 less than what Penn State is allowing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they're not too far off from what Penn State is. I just think we see Penn State look better, and definitely considering that we expected Ohio State's run game to keep that defense off the field more, so maybe that has something to do with it. The stats are there to say that they're a top 5 defense. I personally do not feel like they are, especially after we've seen what Oregon did to them, the only formidable opponents that they've had. We feel like, I personally feel like they have not been showing up as a top 5 defense. How you feel about
it? It's tough. Numbers don't tell the whole story, and you just said it. I mean, they have a very tenured senior defense, but as you can see, I mean, just last year we thought Denzel Burnt was a first-round pick, but you see what happens. So, I mean, no, seriously, like you said, they're ranked top five in like every statistical category. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got to play football. You got to play on the field. I mean, and football is also a game of matchups. So it's going to see how this matchup looks with Penn State. I mean, Penn State offense is not really spectacular. So I mean, I don't really think it should be that bad. But once again, like you seen them last week in Nebraska, like I just don't have faith in them. But and Ryan Day, he does beat Penn State, but against big games, he just, I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how the defense shows up. Drew Aller, if he could play, we're gonna see how that works. But I mean, I'm taking. I'm gonna say this is a tie.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this is a tie.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with that just because you made your pick on Ohio State's offense versus Penn State's defense, so I'll go with that. But Carlos, how are you feeling about it? I mean, like you said, Ryan Day. I mean, I think the good thing about it is, to your point, or against your point, Ryan Day isn't the one calling plays this year, so I think he's going to still have to make some big decisions if it's a close game. But if it's not a close game, and they get away or they get a handle on the game, you know, he's not in a position to call plays and F it up like he did a couple of times. But Carlos, how are you feeling? I think you're going to take Ohio State's defense. But
For sure.
Penn State's offense versus Ohio State's defense, what's the call, Coach?
To call this a tie is absolutely absurd. I'm very disappointed in you. I think you're overly biased, Bob, as a Michigan fan. I think they may have struggled a bit with the number one team in the country because they're the number one team in the country. And I said they would struggle a bit because Oregon is known for having speed. And we just keep leaving out the fact that Penn State don't have no speed and they will not be able to keep up with anybody on that field. That's all I got to say. Okay, I lied. Let me not say anybody. There are linemen and Will Howard slow ass on the field. That's about it. Everything else, they're going to struggle. They're not keeping up with any receiver or running back on that field. That's just my take.
I think that's a big doubt to AJ Harris, but I'm gonna let him play. We'll see.
I don't understand how you totally ignore that performance against Nebraska though, and sit here. So you think Nebraska has a better offense than Penn State?
No.
Los? So that's what I'm getting at. Like, you got to look at the most recent game, and this is 2 times on film you've seen them struggle against offenses, and especially against Nebraska. That's very concerning. Seeing that Nebraska just got smacked by Indiana, so like it's very concerning seeing what an Indiana defense could do against Nebraska, and then the next week, literally seeing what the Ohio State defense does against that same offense. It's just, we got it. That's why I'm saying it's a tie.
Yeah, and I think it's a nod to matchups at the end of the day. I mean,
Sure.
You got Indiana smacking Nebraska because Indiana can actually air the ball out, but Ohio State can't air the ball out. And then when you're forced to put the ball on the ground and kind of dig and dodge and kind of just throw underneath a lot and try to run the ball, Nebraska is in the position to stop you there. So, I mean, we'll be able to see. If they can't air it out and really get some boom plays going, I need some 20-plus yards plays, like multiple from Will.
Man.
If not, I don't really see it. GP, how do you see it? Ohio State's offense versus Penn State's defense.
You mean the other way around?
I'm sorry, Penn State's offense versus Ohio State's defense.
Kind of like I said earlier, I think it's going to come down to if Drew Aller plays. I think the backup, from what I've heard, is more of like in the Trace McSorley type of mold. He's more of like a runner. So it may keep them honest, but I think that Drew Aller offers the ability to have the offense be a little bit more balanced. He's played a lot better than he has last year. Was he a junior this year? The last 2 years.
Yeah, I want to say he's junior.
Yeah. He's played better than he has the last 2 years. So, if he's available to go, I think that just offers the opportunity to air the ball out a little bit more. I think the big thing, though, is outside of Tyler Warren, there has to be someone on the outside that's got to be able to do something. I don't know if that's going to be Julian Fleming in a revenge game, but somebody got to step up. I don't know if he's going to be dumping it off to the running backs, like Katron Allen. Somebody got to step up on the outside and get it done. Especially due to the fact that we've also seen Denzel Burke get burnt. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, he got burnt with speed by Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart.
If we considering past games and everything when we talk about these teams playing against each other, like, we just brought up Nebraska playing Ohio State. Right. Are we not going to take into account that Bowling Green put up 27 points against these niggas and they barely lost?
That's valid.
That's very valid.
How did they put those points up, though?
Points are made.
I don't care how they put up the points. It's Bowling Green. There's no reason. But I couldn't tell you the last time I thought of Bowling Green being anything significant since, like, NCAA 2010, where they had that black quarterback with the dreads, and I used to pick them simply because he could scramble.
I'm gonna be
couldn't
honest
tell you.
I'm gonna just be honest with you. Penn State's not really a dynamic offense to me. They
not.
Never have. But they haven't been typically. Like, that's not who they are. They play defense and they run football. So they're gonna have to figure. I just think they're gonna have to figure something out. Like that. I would assume in film study, Ohio State knows that Tyler Warren is active. Like, you got to find him on the field, because we've seen what he can do, and he can take over a football game. But it literally will on who's on the outside, I think.
Yeah, that's so Los. I just looked into the game against Bowling Green. Yeah, they put up 27, but they put up 3 points in the second half. It was also the second game of the season. So, I mean, at the end of the game, 27 points is 27 points. But I feel like it was more so a adjustment period beginning of the season. I don't know. We're going to see, though.
Even worse, that means you let them put up 24 points in the first half.
That's second game of the season.
You're right.
I think I like it, though. I mean, like I said,
walk-ins on and
I just
everything.
wanted to make sure I had the accurate stats to back it up. But, I mean, they threw for 254 on them. And most of those were in the first half. And then they only ran for 57. Their highest rusher was for 57 yards. That's not Ohio State. Will Howard's not going to go out there and throw for 250. He might hit it, but it's not.
I mean, what?
He averages 250 a game, though.
Let's rewind.
I'm saying he might get 250, but he's not going to get 250. I'm not sure exactly how many he got in the first half, but I would assume, since they did not score but 3 points in the second half, I would like to think 200 of them yards probably was in the first half.
In the first
half.
half.
He's not going for 200 in the first half.
But that is so bad to get that put up on you in the first half of a game.
So how bad is it to have Nebraska almost beat you? Like, I mean, we're talking about bad is bad. I'm not saying that.
I would rather almost lose to Nebraska than almost lose to Bowling Green.
I feel you.
Yeah, I get that.
I would rather Penn State almost lose to Bowling Green, who almost beat them because they was throwing it on air, versus almost losing to a team that can run the ball really well, because then that would concern me against Ohio State. Ohio
State could do both.
No, they can't, bro.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will put
Will
it. I
Howard
don't
goes for 200 plus a game. They have 2 dynamic running backs back there. They're gonna run the ball way better than Bowling Green did.
In theory.
In theory, we would like to think that. We would like to think that. We would like to say that. I mean, we don't know that.
Ohio State's running game could be a lot better than it has been this year.
It could be. But if we're going off what I've seen.
Yeah, I kind of expected it to be a lot more dynamic, I think.
I think we all did. But we'll go ahead and move on to picks. I think we all kind of have a clear view of where everybody is standing, though. We'll start with you, GP. Who are you picking, and are you taking the favorite team to cover, or are you taking Penn State to cover as well? So it's -3.5 Penn State's way. I mean, Ohio State's way, and of course then it'll be +3.5 going Penn State's way.
I like Ohio State to cover. This is I'm sorry, not an immovable object versus an irresistible force. I guess that's a term. Ryan Day kind of sucks against top 5 opponents, and if I'm not mistaken, James Franklin is like 1-8 or something like that, as in these type of matchups as well. But the funniest thing is, I think the biggest thing is like who's under more pressure, ironically, to win this game, and I'd have to say it's probably Ryan Day. Why? The expectation typically is that James Franklin loses this game regardless, whether it's Ohio State or whether he's playing Michigan. I know that's random, but like you kind of expect Ryan Day to win this game. He actually kind of has to win this game. And the fact that Ohio State already has a 2-loss Ohio State team trying to then get into the playoffs, knowing they still got to play Michigan at the end of the year. And you got to throw the semantics out. Like that's a rivalry game. They might be on the outs of the playoff, which would be absolutely insane. So just want to throw that out there.
That's valid. I mean, that's very valid to talk about and think about. I mean,
wait, did we get your pick?
Yeah, I think he said he got Ohio State to cover.
Oh, okay.
All right, but go on to you, Bob.
Let me just say that they're more desperate, so they're gonna have to win that game.
This game is really a toss-up to me, just because of how Ohio State's performance is against against teams of competence. I'm a Michigan fan, so I say it every year, kind of being a fan, but Ohio State really doesn't play anybody until like the end of the year. So it's
like
but Penn State, y'all know how I feel about Penn State too. Penn State is one of the mid teams to me. I don't want to sound like a hater.
Get in your hater bag, bro. Get in your hater bag.
Hey, I'm going Penn State. I'm going Penn State. Reason being, honestly, is I see Penn State stopping the run and forcing Will Howard to win the game. And I simply just don't see Will Howard winning the game, especially with Ohio State being down to their third left tackle. So that's it. I mean, and the quarterback play can have a big difference because, like GP said, you don't know which quarterback to game plan for, and that makes that's very big because football is a game of matchups. And if you game plan for one quarterback and another one comes in, then mid-game adjustments is going to come big. And I don't know. I got Penn State in a close game.
All right. I feel it. What you think?
What a horrible take. Oh my God. I can't believe you just dropped a bomb on that. That was so disgusting. Ohio State covers by a lot.
What's the
3.5? I said earlier they cover by 7 or more.
I need to start writing this down.
Write this down. Ohio State covers by 7+, and I don't really think that's a debatable thing. I don't think Penn State could keep up with this team. I think we are really disrespecting Ohio State, and we will see on Saturday at noon when Penn State goes out there and they get fucked.
So, Los, you taking them? You gonna go 7.5, or you going 7?
I'm gonna go 7 to be safe.
Okay.
I'm already extending the spread, but I don't want to,
I'm just asking, brother. I'm just asking.
You doing
Actually, no. Mark me down for 6.5, 6.5, because I said they will win by 7 or more. So I would extend it 3 points to, you know.
All right, I got you. I think those are valid points. Everybody made some valid points there. I'm gonna go Ohio State to cover, just because I kind of feel how I felt going into the Georgia game, Georgia versus Texas. It didn't make sense as to how we was gonna beat Texas, but I just knew there was no way we could lose, and that's kind of how I feel about this game. Although I don't like Ryan Day, I think he is not that good of a coach. I just don't understand how you lose this game. I don't get it. I don't care about playing on the road. I don't care about any of that, night or day. My money, if it was at night, would probably go on Penn State, but I still would have the same sentiments that I don't care. You got to win. I will say, if Ryan Day, we'll touch on this really, really quickly before we move on. I think, like GP said, Ryan Day needs this the most. I think we all can agree with that. If James Franklin and Penn State loses, it's just more of them doing the same thing they've been doing, losing to Ohio State. So it's not going to change much. He's still going to have a job. Y'all had a good year, at least this time. Y'all probably are not going to lose to Michigan. So at least this time you only got one loss. You're in the season, one loss.
Yeah, I mean.
But if Ryan Day loses this game, I'll say he's out of there, bro. He's got to go.
He's not out of there in my
He's not out of there, but in my book.
But
you see this?
Again, like I said, the pressure that you now put yourself under is actually insane. It's ridiculous because you have no mess ups now. You probably cannot make the Big Ten championship.
Ain't no probably.
Well, yeah. Well,
what?
I mean, Penn State would have to lose again. Well, twice.
You would need Penn State to lose. You would also have to beat Indiana.
Oh, shoot.
And then Penn State would have to lose 2 times because they have the edge on you. So they'd have to lose 2 games. Oh, sorry. They'd have to lose. What are they, undefeated right now in the conference?
Yes, they're undefeated.
Penn State's undefeated. Yeah.
They'd have to lose 4 games.
What's
You're
my
asking them to
record in
basically
this top 10
lose 3 of their last 4. Like,
that's
not
shockingly, if Penn State wins this game and Indiana somehow beats Ohio State and both of those teams go undefeated for the rest of the year, as long as one of these teams beat Ohio State by more than 1 point, they will be.
They'll get in over Oregon.
Yeah, they will get in over. Both of them will actually get in over Oregon if they both.
And this is exactly why I kind of wish that there were divisions in all of these brand new conferences.
It gets messy.
The tiebreakers are ridiculous.
Are we sure that's the tiebreaker? You looked up.
Yeah, that's the tiebreaker for sure.
That's the first level.
That's only if Penn State and Indiana went out and both beat Ohio State.
I mean, if you got trained by Penn State, Indiana, and Oregon, you still don't think this nigga needs to go? Are we serious?
Look, I keep doing this. $20 million roster.
No,
if you can't, man,
what else do you need?
That's what I'm saying. That's
my point. That'd be my.
What else do you need?
No.
I believe. That's why I believe that he's on the hot seat because you have the best roster like assembled. My thing is, if you can't win with this, what else do we have to see from you as a head coach to prove you can win?
I will give you that.
That's it.
I gotta agree with that. Like the 20 million roster thing is something that I think has to be thrown into the mix. Also, to another point, yes, you paid for a 20 million roster, but you also chose that quarterback when you had an opportunity to go get Cam Ward too.
Cam Ward didn't want to go there.
It's not.
I think that was more of his decision.
That's not necessary.
I think they got stuck with what they could get.
I'm just saying that's not necessarily true. But you chose. No, I'm just saying.
What'd you say?
He called in the hotline. He got to know that nigga.
I'm just saying you chose Will Howard, and you put all your guns and all your chips in behind him. And I'm not saying that Will Howard is a bad quarterback now. He's not. But there were other options on the table, I think. So if y'all, I don't think that Ohio State is going to lose to Penn State, but that's a significant stain, I think, if you lose that. Because I can kind of forgive you on the Oregon L. Like, you only lost by 1. It was almost a field goal range.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a back and forth game. It ain't like you got blown out. You lost by 1 point. and Oregon now the number one team in the country.
I mean, if we're gonna start talking details though, and we'll move on. Oregon did what? They turned the ball over. Not turned the ball over. They went downs on the 1 yard line. I think they turned it over in the red zone. So it's like the game should have been a lot worse than it was if we're talking details. Yeah. But none of that matters if Ohio State handles business. Now you got to worry about, okay, we actually should have lost by more to Oregon, and we got to play them again. But we've kind of touched on that, and we'll talk about it later. But we'll move on here. We got 3 people going to Ohio State. I'm not.
Take your pick.
I'm gonna take 2.5. I can't take that 3.5. I just feel like it's really that close. I think that depends on Drew Aller being healthy though. That's a big part of it.
I think you're giving Penn State's offense a lot of credit.
Make sure you there on Sunday.
A healthy Drew.
Make sure you in church on Sunday, Kaylin.
No, I'm actually.
Wow, I said I got Ohio State winning. I'm just saying
2.5. Boo. You scared? Make sure you there on Sunday, Kaylin.
I'll be there.
Go to church. You scared? Be there on Sunday.
I'm actually I kind of rock with Drew Aller. I just think that the Penn State offense has never impressed me like over the years. And I think even now, it don't really matter who Ohio State quarterback is. They're gonna put up typically.
We say that, but we see what they just did last week. Nebraska scored 1 touchdown and almost won. You don't have to be a spectacular offense.
Hey, and you know what? And in fairness, you are as good as your last game. But like I said, I'm not saying they're gonna blow them out. I just think that they'll beat them by more than 3.5 points.
That's valid. All right, moving on. This Saturday night at 8:00, we do have SMU playing Pitt. SMU will be the home team. That again, another game that will possibly decide a conference championship. They'll need some more things to happen for either of these teams to end up in the conference championship. SMU, in their case, honestly, they should be in a good position. I think Pitt is in a tougher position. They actually will have to play Clemson. But if you really are that dog, you want to have your destiny in your hands. You want to have your future in your own hands. So if Pitt wins, all they got to do is go beat Clemson in the conference championship. Win or lose in the conference championship, they'll probably get in the in the college football playoff. So we'll be able to see. But how are we feeling about that Pitt offense going up against SMU's defense? Pitt offense, pretty good quarterback. We're not sure if he's going to be healthy. I'll actually look into that. I know he has been banged up. Not sure if he'll be playing or not. Eli Holston, I'll look into that. But GP, how are you feeling about Pitt versus SMU?
I believe on Tuesday, on our last episode, when you asked like,
mm-hmm. They do.
and being at home kind of helps them navigate this. Also, they don't have as hard of a schedule left, I don't think. Like you said, Pitt still has to play Clemson. Clemson's
Thanks.
Very formidable defense, and Cade Klubnik has been playing very well. I don't know. I just got SMU in this one. Honestly, that's how I'm feeling.
I respect it. Eli Holston for Pitt, quarterback, will be playing. We're not even sure what his injury was. They were saying it was undisclosed versus Syracuse. They had a big win against Syracuse, but he was injured in the game, undisclosed injury. But he apparently is fine and ready to roll. Bob, how are you feeling about SMU versus Pitt?
Yeah, Pitt's offense versus SMU's defense, right?
Yep.
Pitt's offense is pretty good. I looked it up. I think they're like the 14th scoring offense in the nation. I mean, so they have a pretty good offense. Like you said, it's going to come down to if their quarterback can play, and it sounds like he is playing, and if he's 100% healthy, like what he can and can't do on the field. If he's playing like himself, he threw 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's a pretty good quarterback. So if he plays good, I got Pitt's offense over SMU's defense. Just because SMU also their defense struggled last week against Duke. So I'm taking Pitt's offense.
I do respect that. I'm not sure. I have them sitting at 19th, but either way, they are at 35.5 points per game from what I'm seeing. I mean, they are pretty good at the end of the day. Los, what you thinking?
Okay.
Me personally, I think SMU's defense will hold up pretty well. I'm not too sold on Pitt because they haven't played much of any great offenses outside of um, Syracuse. I believe I haven't seen anybody else on their schedule that looks decent enough for me to say, "Oh, this defense is good." SMU, I know they've been. I mean, we know now Florida State sucks, but I mean we thought they were supposed to be a good team, but they beat them 42-16. But on top of that, Duke is a good team. Like whether we classify them as good or not, but Duke has been on the come up in the past few years, and this year they're not really bad. They're like they're 6-2, so they're not a trash team. On top of that, they beat Louisville, who was our in our game of the weeks against Miami. So we were big up in Louisville in their defense, saying that Cam Ward would they may struggle a little bit, blah blah blah. SMU beat them. I really have no dog in a defensive fight between either team because I think conferences like these just suck all around defensively. But I think SMU's defense will hold up against Pitt.
I do feel that. I think my pick ultimately would be SMU just from a home field advantage standpoint. I feel like it's too close to call, low key. I mean, they are pretty identical when you look at where they rank outside of Pitt's defense. But the only thing that has me hesitant about Pitt's defense is the fact that, like Lo said, they haven't played anybody. But they are ranked pretty good as far as their defense. Both of them technically have good run defenses, but again, we're talking about the ACC. I don't know who they've been playing that is actually a formidable opponent as far as on the ground. So that kind of has me hesitant. Like, I really don't feel like either of these defenses are good. Both of them pretty much average the same amount of yards on offense. They both allow the same amount of yards on defense. It's pretty much a twin game, an even game. I'm just going to automatically go ahead and go with the home team with this. As long as, I guess, if the home crowd shows up. I've watched maybe 2 SMU games while they've been at home, and I haven't watched full game. I'm just tapping in. But hopefully if they really take the game serious, the crowd takes the game serious, and they make it a tough environment, I think it could be a win for them just from the crowd standpoint. So we won't waste too much time on that. I think at the end of the day, we've all just been waiting for this Pitt SMU game to happen so we can figure out who the third team is and if that third team will have to be a team that plays Clemson or Miami. But
I will say if SMU does lose, it's because of that 2 quarterback system that they run.
think so.
And because they don't give either quarterback enough time to ever balance themselves in a game and get themselves settled within the team. The team don't necessarily know who they trust in or who they I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point they know who they're trusting, but they don't know I don't think the chemistry is all around where it could be if you just went with one quarterback and stuck there because Jennings is who should be your starting quarterback and should be playing 100% of the time, but sometimes he's going in there and he's shaky because, you're pulling him out every so often. So that'll be SMU's downfall if they lose this game.
Yeah, I think I can go for that. I think they definitely need to be more consistent. I think they do have a good pass game when he's in. I think he could be probably better than his stats are showing if they would leave him in the game. So I do agree with that. I do feel like you got to do what you got to do to win. When you get the W and you do it, it's fine. If you lose the game, of course, it's not that fine. So we'll be able to see what happens there. And hopefully it goes SMU. I just want to keep my record looking good and looking clean on the whiteboard. So we'll be able to see how that is going. And to our last Big 3 game, we do have the cocktail party, UGA versus Florida. Shout out to them dogs. You know where we're riding. We wearing the Mighty Ducks right now, but it's the dog in heart at all times, baby. The dog is always with us. How are we feeling? We'll start off with Florida's offense versus Georgia's defense. I think that could be an interesting one. We'll start off there. How are we feeling about that one, Carlos? I know you're a homer, but how are you feeling realistically, not in your made-up dreams?
DJ Lagway.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
That's him right there. We got a new quarterback in there. Our offense is moving a little bit more fluent.
Okay.
We're being realistic. I'm a fan. What the fuck am I talking about? We ain't talking about realistic, nigga. Florida by 20. Florida by 20.
All right.
You heard it here first, folks.
We're writing that on the big board. You want 19 and a half?
Nah, don't write that on that big board, though. Don't write that on that big board.
Too late, bro.
Don't write that on that big board. Carlos not putting this in his parlay. Don't trip. Don't trip.
This just for the record. We got to keep the record straight.
We're taking the under. I don't want to participate in it. We can't keep it for the record because you're not gonna make me pick against my team, and you're not gonna make me pick my team and ruin my record for the sake of a damn whiteboard.
Woo!
We gonna call that a bye week.
Oh, bye week, bro.
We gonna call that a bye week. Carlos did not pick for that game.
Hey, DJ Lagway, I hope you're watching. I hope you see. He don't really have no real faith in you, bro. It's all that matters.
Oh, I got faith. I got faith in you, brother. I'm just not putting you in that parlay.
I mean, well, just pick them. Just pick Georgia not to cover, bro.
What's the spread again?
17.
Which is possible. It's 17. I'm gonna be honest with you, Georgia.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm also gonna take the under.
Actually, my bad. It dropped. Sorry, it's at 14.5 now.
Exactly.
Nah, we already said 17. Put me in at 17.5, big brother. I locked in last week.
Bavado said it too, and you know what happens when you click it and it ain't there. It don't be there. We got you for 14.5. Don't worry, bro. Bob, how we feeling? Just as far as Florida's offense versus Georgia's defense? I know Carlos has no real points. If you could provide some type of knowledge for the good people at home, I know he can't stay out of La La Land here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what's in that Florida water. I don't know, but yeah, Georgia's defense, as we all know, and you guys know as fans, I mean, they're known for getting after quarterback pass rushers. You see what they did against Texas. I mean, I don't gotta say too much about that. Florida's offensive line hasn't really been that good all season. They looked really good last game against Kentucky. I think that's also credit to DJ. I mean, DJ's actually making the offense look better, helping out, not being sitting in the pocket. So, but they did allow 10 sacks all season, which is still a lot, and Georgia could get to the quarterback. So I think it's going to come down to, like, if Florida's offensive line plays good, they're and DJ stays not turnover prone, then they can have a shot. But just because he's a true freshman, pressure on a true freshman quarterback, this is probably his biggest game that he's played. I'm taking Georgia's defense just because, I mean, we seen what they're going to do. They're going to get after it, and just due to the inexperience of DJ.
Yeah, and like you said, 10 sacks on the season. I mean, bro, they don't even throw that much. He doesn't drop back that much. I think this last game he threw, I don't want to be inaccurate, but I want to say he threw either 14 or 17 passes against Kentucky. So he's not back there that much. And then the game before that, I think it was about 14 passes last game against Kentucky. Game before that, he threw 17 passes. Bro is not back there throwing the ball often. And if we come with that same pressure and we're able to put that pressure on the front, we're able to stop the run with 3 up front. It's a long, long day for them. I don't like that and how that looks for them. But GP, how are you feeling?
Keys to the game, I think, for me, for Georgia's defense, absolutely stop the run. That's always going to be the key. I think for Kirby Smart defense is always stop the run. Georgia's defense historically tend to struggle with running quarterbacks. He happens to be a very mobile threat as well. One thing I will point out, though, so Janelle Aguero and Dan Jackson have to miss the first half of the game because they were both hit with targeting penalties against Texas. So I'm assuming Billy Napier at some point in the first half is going to try to throw the ball deep. Not the smartest move necessarily because you still have Malachi and KJ back there, but like we are missing 2 safeties. So I would assume he's going to try to test the 2 guys that have to come in for Jonelle and Dan, I would assume. And Florida can run the ball pretty well, whether Montrell comes back healthy or the freshman ball if he's in, because I think the last game he had.
I mean, against Kentucky, he had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had like 5 touchdowns, exactly. So like. There's obviously talent in their backfield and in their run game. Bring pressure, force DJ Lago to be accurate, I think is the best thing. We know he has a cannon, but force him to make tight window throws. I think that will be might be a little more difficult for him as a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, that's real. I'm interested to see what we do with out Jonelle, who we put there. Of course, I think you could put somebody like Chris Cole there.
Yeah.
And in that case, Chris Cole can also play the run. I think he's definitely physically much larger than Jonell, but I don't know if he can play the run more physically. If he can, or if he can play it as physically, it's gonna be pretty ugly out there. I mean, we also have the ability to put out whichever linebackers we want to. If you want to call some of these guys linebackers, they can play the slot. I mean, the star position, the money position, if they want to, and put them in a position where you're gonna be forced, and we're gonna bait them into throwing deep. And then you find yourself in a position where you don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. But moving on to Georgia's offense versus Florida's defense. Florida's not as bad defensively. I mean, they got bumped by Miami at the beginning of the year. Kentucky, they killed them, but Kentucky still put up 20. And I think against Tennessee, it wasn't that bad to me. I think they played a pretty good game defensively. We also have to take that with a grain of salt. Tennessee is what Tennessee is. They're not as good. They're not as high profile of an offense as we are used to seeing. But how are we feeling in general about Georgia's offense going against Tennessee's defense, Los?
Florida.
You on mute?
I'm sorry, Florida's defense. You're on mute, Los. But Georgia's offense going against Florida's defense, how are we feeling?
Sorry, folks. Sorry. The old lady was calling. I had to, you know what I'm saying? Our defense is, like I said, I think since the beginning of the year, we started off very subpar as we expected. I think we started to pick everything up a bit recently. I don't want to say, we're like an elite defense or anything, but I will say we have a newfound defense. So I would like to see how that matches up against, a more elite team. No high hopes or anything, but hey, may the best team win.
Why are your expectations being leveled so much right now? Like, where's the humility coming from?
Brother, we're 4-3. What the hell do you mean? We're 4-3. It's not like we're 4-3.
We appreciate your realism.
4-3 with a true freshman quarterback. It's not like I got Kyle Trask back there or Tim Tebow, where I could just be like, oh, hold on, let me go listen to one of his pregame Jameis Winston speeches and be like,
I'm weak. Well,
the power of God got us.
I'm glad you're being realistic there. Bob, how are we feeling? UGA's offense, Florida's defense. Just to let y'all know, Florida's defense, they are ranked below 50 in every category, except for 4 down.
Yeah. Damn.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
They're allowing.
Let me know when y'all finish.
I mean, bro. What do you want us to say?
We just stating facts.
What's Michigan ranked again?
All right, moving on. What's going on, Bob? Boy, how you
All
doing?
right. So since we're talking about Florida, Florida's defense is Kalen basically said it's trash. No, let me stop it. No, their defense is like below average, just to be honest with you. Georgia averages 33 points a game, about 430 yards a game. I don't see Florida's defense being able to stop them, especially the run game. Trevor's coming back playing against his own team, so I think he's going to have a huge game. So, yeah, I can see Trevor taking over the game and then opening up for the quarterback, for Carson. So, I think it's going to be UGA's offense easily. I don't even think it's going to be an issue. The one glimmer of hope that Florida does have is turnovers. I mean, if Beck does throw some interceptions, I know Florida had 3 interceptions last game against Kentucky, and I know Beck just threw 2 or 3 interceptions against Texas. That's their glimmer of hope, but that's if they can stop the run. And like I said, Trevor is going to be playing motivated. He's playing against his own old team. So I'm taking UGA's offense easily.
That's a fact. I don't see us being in a position where we need to be just throwing the ball all over the place anyways. Go ahead, Los.
I just seen a stat that was actually crazy to me, that DJ Lagway has 150 plus less throws than Carson Beck and only has 900 less yards. That's pretty impressive to me.
He also has 5 picks and 5 touchdowns.
And Carson Beck also has 8 interceptions.
So he has 3
in more games.
He has 3 less picks on 150 more attempts.
I mean, that's pretty on a Florida team. That's pretty impressive, bro.
Nasty. I'm sorry. That's
On a
nasty.
Florida team, bro.
My brother.
That's pretty impressive, bro. Because if Carson Beck is doing that with Georgia's team, imagine what Carson Beck's stats would look like with Florida.
Okay, Los is back. The real Los is back.
A 1-to-1 TD to interception ratio is not good.
That nigga sucks.
It is not good. All right.
Pete, go ahead, bro.
So, other things. Florida is like 15th out of 16 in conference in rushing defense, which is a bit shocking. So, part of me feels like I've heard just entirely too much talk about how Florida really feels about like Trevor Etienne leaving and whatnot. I feel like they're going to really try to focus on attempting to stop him. And I see him getting off, going crazy in that game, but at the same time, I'm like, Carson Beck is still pretty solid, and your best corner isn't going to play this game in Jason Marshall. So I think trying to over focus on trying to stop the run will be interesting because it's not like Carson Beck can dice y'all up like he did this last year too. Now, granted, he didn't have, he can't remember. One of Brock or Ladd missed the game last year. I can't remember. I believe. But one of them, I think it might have been Ladd, but one of them missed the game last year. Either way, he would put a can of whoop ass on y'all last year, damn near by himself. So I mean, if you want to let that happen, by all means. But I do feel like we're gonna try to establish the run just because y'all's run defense isn't high profile. But at the same time, they're absolutely gonna test whoever is taking Jason Marshall's spot outside as well.
Yeah, my apologies. It was actually Brock. Brock lost.
Brock was out?
But we had Ladd. Ladd actually went for 135 that game. Went for 6. So,
you missing.
Not saying we're going to get that again from somebody, but who's to say we don't? I think it is time for Georgia's wide receivers to step up. I think Carson, some of the things that Carson has done are inexcusable. But looking back at some tape, especially looking at some all-22 coverage, like you can see what's actually going on. Even like that London Humphreys, that pick, that looked so bad in real life. But looking back at it, and then I did watch somebody else that breaks down film, it's actually London's fault. I mean, he was supposed to know that ball is going to come onto the outside. He was trying to throw him away from the pressure. I think a lot of it does have to do with chemistry. But even if that's not your fault in game, it is the quarterback's fault because it's your responsibility to make sure that chemistry is together. It's your responsibility to know what's going on. Outside of, even with the Arian Smith throw, it's all anticipated, but I feel like it has to be in your mind. You want to have that confidence that, hey, I know my guy is going to do what needs to be done at the time when it needs to be done, but you got to know, if Arian is prone to doing some BS like that, some situations I'm just not throwing it. If he don't look like he's about to do what I think he's about to do, I'm just going to have to be like, hey, bro, my bad, I got you next time. I'm not going to risk it, but we'll see.
We're spending too much time on this topic.
Why, bro?
Next topic.
Yeah, now he don't want to talk about it, but we'll make picks real quick. I'll make it for everybody. Actually, I know where everybody stands, Even Carlos technically is picking Georgia. He's just picking Georgia not to cover. So, at the end of the day, we know where we're
not.
At the end of the day, nah, bro.
I'm picking Florida to cover. Hell, he thought this was.
Very simple there. Very simple. But moving on.
Blowout.
We're out of our big 3 games there. We'll just move on here. About to go into our segment here, going 4 under 4. We're going to talk about 4 topics. Go and try to get that done in under 4 minutes and get you guys out of here. But make sure you guys are knowledgeable. Make sure you guys are knowledgeable all at the same time. But going on to our next segment, 4 under 4. 4 topics, under 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and get to that. We'll go ahead and start with our first topic. How does Clemson and Miami increase their rankings? Of course, Miami is undefeated. However, they're not even in the top 5 right now. How do they go on throughout the rest of the season? Not really playing too much of anybody. How do they go on to get that ranking higher? Because, right now, depending on what happens, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be the 3rd or the 4th seed. I don't necessarily see them being below the Big 12 champion, but you never know. How do
Well,
y'all?
I was gonna say they're kind of blessed due to the fact that Ohio State and Penn State play each other, so that's 2 top 5 teams playing each other. So naturally, one of them is probably gonna drop below 5. I would assume.
Well, if we're speaking college football playoff wise, seeding wise,
Oh, like in the top 4 seeds, you gotta keep winning, and you gotta. If you're in Miami, you gotta stop being the cardiac pains. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. Like you gotta win.
Miami
Just
just
win.
has to not lose.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm saying not lose, but try to win a little bit more significantly than they have been winning. We all know the offense is fire. Unfortunately, the defense just isn't there yet. But you're gonna have to attempt in these later weeks to start trying to beat some of these teams by like double digits or like 2 touchdowns or something like that. So people will be like, "Oh, it's really time to fear the Canes these days." Because I think people respect their offense for sure. Everybody respects Cam Ward for sure. It's the defense right now is not really picking up their end of the bargain right now because they've been in some shootouts that they probably should not have been in, honestly.
yeah, that's true.
And I think my bad. And I was gonna say, I think for Clemson, I mean, you're gonna have to win out the same way. I think at this point, it's like being an ACC champion will be there because at this point, it's like if you're a 1L Clemson, ACC champion Clemson, that's a pretty good look. Even if your 1L was to Georgia, beginning of the year, and it was lacking essentially. But you can also say like, look at our progress.
No, that's real. Bob, how are you feeling about it? How does Clemson or Miami get higher in the rankings? And my apologies, I did say Miami is not even top 5. They are top 5. They're actually number 5. But right now, like I'm saying, they are pretty much in a position where they are permanently going to be that third or that 4th seed in the college football playoff. How did they get that ranking up?
I mean, it's just win out right here. I mean, all I got to do is win out. Everybody plays each other. So if they win out, they'll be fine. I mean, same with Clemson. So it's easy. It's easy as that. Just win out and let everybody else above them beat each other.
That's real. Lastly, though, real quick before our time runs out, does a 2-loss Clemson team make it into the college football playoff? Let's just say they lose to Miami in the conference championship.
They lose to Miami?
They lose the Miami conference championship. They put them at 2 losses. Can they still make the college football playoff?
Who do they lose to?
Yeah,
If Indiana loses, they can.
Got it.
I think if Indiana loses, they can.
By how much, I think, is the question, because I feel like we are at a stage where they're probably going to try to put a bunch of SEC teams in and at least 3 Big Ten teams in.
I lied. I don't think they can because the only team that I see beating Clemson on their schedule is South Carolina. If they lose to South Carolina, I think if Indiana wins out, well, they probably won't. But if Indiana, wins and only loses that one game to the big team they play before the end of the year, I think Indiana gets the spot. But even if they don't give it to Indiana, I think they push Alabama up because Alabama beat South Carolina, so they will also have 2 losses.
That's real. All right, and that is our time there. We'll move on here to our next topic. We'll talk about these helmet communications. I mean, this has been a big topic as of late because luckily we do have a great Michigan fan here on with us. It is seeming like people think that it's not encrypted, or it was not encrypted. They were told when they started the helmet comms that it would be encrypted. I'm not sure exactly how they figured it out. They haven't really released that. Speculation is that they kind of caught it before something bad happened. They believe that it was interfered with without any ill will, and that's how they realized it wasn't actually encrypted. So all schools from the Power 5 conferences, Power 4 conferences, have been told to send their equipment in, and I'm assuming by this weekend they will have their helmet comms back and it will be encrypted. How are we feeling in general about the helmet comms? Have we really noticed the difference? The first thing that came to mind to me was how we talked about on Tuesday, or Carlos's point, just feeling like offensive coordinators haven't really been dialing it up this year. We feel like offensive coordinators have not been dialing it up this year. Have the helmet comms really made a difference?
I say as far as well, first of all, I want to say you're welcome. Thanks to Michigan, we finally get this in college football. Everybody's been asking for this, so thank you, Michigan. Let's but I don't think there's a difference. I think the difference is on field execution that we can't see as viewers of the game on TV. Other than that, I mean, I don't think there's really that big of a difference for us as fans watching the game.
I agree. I do think it could be some things that aren't happening. What is it? 10 seconds? It goes off the clock, or is it less? It goes off.
15.
I think it's 15 I think it's 15.
Okay, so 15 is going off. I think it can help. I think it can help in the situation where you're talking about younger quarterbacks like a DJ Lagway. Hey, get us out of this play. Usually, those type of quarterbacks aren't going in with the second play in mind, with the play that they can audible to. Usually, it's just, hey, whatever is in there is what we're gonna go with. If you see it's not working, you try to adjust, but we're just gonna die trying. But how do you feel about it, GP?
So, ironically, about this, the teams that usually are like no huddle teams or tempo teams, like a Tennessee type, they actually have had to huddle a little bit more due to the fact that you have helmet communication now to get the playoff, because I guess the play calls are so much longer or something. I really haven't noticed it as much. I still think you're trying to professionalize the game, which I think is dope. Kind of cool. Like it's something like you're gonna have to deal with that at the next level, so you might as well deal with it now. The only thing I don't like though is like, to your point, like we mentioned about these the Big 12 figured something out when they were like, hey, everybody's sending their stuff in. If I recall correctly, during the Georgia Texas game, there was also an issue. Yeah, there was also an issue with the comms thing. So if one team's comms aren't working, both teams are basically supposed to not use comms.
That's
I believe, which I believe happened in that game.
No, I did. It for sure happened. For sure.
So, and I know people were like, "Oh, random weird rumor that people were like, oh, Georgia was BSing about that so that they could just use their signals or whatever." And I'm like, I mean, maybe good gamesmanship. I don't think that was necessarily the case. I genuinely just think they comms weren't working, which is fishy in itself, honestly.
I mean, that big old light experience, that expensive light show from Texas, that probably took out a lot of. That's probably why the comms stopped working.
Yeah, I mean, any advantage, I guess, is good. I think it's beneficial just in general to have comms, but I mean, if the joint's not working, you can always hand signal.
That is true. At the end of the day, Carlos, how are you feeling about it in general? Any thoughts on the comms? Any change? I will say one big change. I feel like it's more useful for the defense, but how do you feel, Carlos?
I think for defense, it is more useful. Offensively, I don't really think it really helps them that much more. It may help somebody from, figuring out what your sign is or what picture you use on your vision board on the sideline for whatever plays, whatever y'all be having going on. Or maybe they know that you're about to run a double wide receiver fly when you jerk off two fucking invisible digs. Like, I don't know what these coaches be doing on the sideline. It does. Bro, if you see something, I'm gonna send a video in so you can clip the video in here of the coach sitting on the sideline, doing the double jerk. Either way, I don't think it. Oh yeah, you will see. I don't think it benefits the offense at all.
You're gonna see. I don't want.
You're gonna see, bro. You're gonna see. Watch.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you gonna see?
No, I'm not.
Bro was sitting on the sideline and he was just. And I was like, everybody, even the commentator was just like, whoa, what is that? But it was the craziest play call I ever seen, bro. Either way, it doesn't help the offense. The offense, it doesn't change anything what I said about the offensive coordinators not dialing up good plays either. The play calls are just bad play calls. Don't matter if that headset working or not. So
that double jerk was crazy.
Insane. Insane.
Just watch.
But we're on time up. I will say though, I think that the biggest help is with the defense because it's so much easier to make those calls now. It's no real guessing. I mean, you got the defense coordinator on your side who can see all 22 from up top. If your defense coordinator is up there or whoever's communicating with you is up there, it's different. Usually defense coordinators are down there, but I feel like whoever's communicating, they got somebody in those comms from upstairs. All right, moving on to our next topic. Quick for Indiana having a great season. We got Illinois having a great season, all in the Big Ten. Not necessarily newcomers, but I think they are new football programs that are revealing themselves within the Big Ten. I think it'd be different if they were in the Big 12 doing this or in the ACC, but you're in the Big Ten where you've been for quite some time with no success. Illinois has a chance to get a nine-win team for the first time since, I have it in my notes, first time since 2007. And if Illinois gets to 10 wins, that will be the first time they got the 10 wins since 2001, dog. So we're talking about 23 years. So they've been in the Big Ten for quite some time, no success. However, we're not going to talk about those successful teams right now. I just want to know to you guys, while we have these new teams, these new programs being successful within the Big Ten, who is the most disappointing team this year in the Big Ten?
The new teams or out of all the teams?
Out of all of them, who's the most disappointing this year?
Michigan. No troll. It's been Michigan, no troll.
Michigan, hands down. There's no debate.
I will go here. It is Michigan. We've just been disappointing just based off of expectations. I mean, national champs, you see what we did last year, got our ring. Something I haven't seen Florida do in a long time. But yeah, we got our ring. And everybody has high hopes for us. I mean, we did lose 13 people to the NFL. People forget about that. But yeah, we've been very disappointing. If I were to pick a close second, I'll pick USC. Just because USC could easily be undefeated right now.
No, they can't.
That every game they lost, they had the lead and then lost it by one possession. So USC could easily be undefeated right now. But that's why this section is called the biggest disappointment.
Yeah. I want to say
GP?
Mine's definitely Michigan. It's Michigan more so due to the fact that they haven't figured out their quarterback situation. As I was telling Bob off camera, I feel like if Michigan had a more stable quarterback situation, their defense is still really good, and they can run the ball. I think that they would be. I'm not saying that they would be a national championship contender, but I think they would have more of an influence of the playoffs. Like they'd probably be a playoff appearance team. And I agree that second would probably be USC. I think there was a lot of hype with the Alex Grinch firing a defensive coordinator, bringing in DeAnton Lynn as your DC. Like they were supposed to be really good, and they lost to teams like Maryland. That's unacceptable. So now in my personal opinion, you looked at Lincoln Riley. Yeah, he had a Heisman Trophy winner in Caleb Williams, but the closest you got was the Pac-10 championship that you got blasted in by Utah, and that was your first year.
That's true.
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic here, Bob. Put that shit up. If we're being honest, nobody expected USC to be good once they moved to this division. We expected USC to be worse than what they were because they wouldn't be able to keep up. Their defense wouldn't be able to hold up. Now, when we talk about Michigan, we're talking about 2023 national champions. We didn't expect them. Nobody thinks you guys are the biggest disappointment because of expectations, because we didn't think you guys would be the 1 or the 2 seed in the conference. But for y'all to be 5-3, it's pretty damn trash. So while we're going to talk about Florida being trash and this and the third, you guys got just as many losses as we do, and you're not in as tough as a conference as we are. So it's just like, how many top 10 teams have y'all really played to have that bad of a record, How many top 25 teams have y'all played to have that bad of a record?
I mean, he's staying honest and true. He is still holding that up. I know your arms is hurting.
But I will say I respect it.
Yeah, you gotta respect it. I
respect all the Lulu people. Like, some
like
I know. Brother,
like yourself, but
we gave the world Tim Tebow.
All right. Anyways, moving on. I do feel like I get where y'all are coming from, but I kind of disagree with Carlos's point. They're saying you guys are disappointing because you're 5-3. I feel like that's a little. You're kind of going against yourself there because you're saying we didn't expect them to be good because they were 2023 national champions. But at the same time, 5-3 is trash. I can't really go for that. I do feel like it's USC just because I feel like they've had time to figure it out. I feel like they made moves to figure it out. I feel like the only thing Michigan has done is lost 13 players in the NFL draft. That's a record for them. And then you changed your coach.
Yep.
And we already knew.
It's like technical difficulties. But how did I contradict myself?
Because you said 5-3 is trash, but we didn't expect them to be good.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
I said we didn't expect you to be 1 or 2 in the conference, but we didn't expect y'all to be 5-3.
I got you. I will say I didn't expect them. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But I knew they wasn't finna be good. I thought they would just maybe be a spoiler. I thought at best they'd probably be a spoiler.
We a quarterback. I still think we a quarterback away, but that's why we're disappointing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to go USC though. But I feel like
you are a quarterback and a helping hand from Jesus away, brother. Y'all need more than just a quarterback.
Nah, I'm serious with the quarterback thing because there were games when you're throwing for like 30 yards.
36. Come on, man.
6 yards is insane. Just if I wasn't even a big JJ McCarthy fan last year, but if they had JJ McCarthy, they would have been 10 times better this year.
First round quarterback JJ McCarthy, yeah, of course. But this is 4 for 4. I'm gonna take a book out of Los's page. Next topic.
Yeah, next topic for sure. We're moving on. All right, but we're going ahead and end this off with who do we feel like is the SEC Player of the Year right now? As of right now, as of today, I'd like for us to stay away from quarterbacks because I don't think any of them are worth it. But who do you guys feel like is the SEC Player of the Year right now? If you had to pick one,
Trey Harris from Ole Miss, wide receiver. He's probably been like the best wide receiver in the SEC so far.
I got you, Bob.
Y'all are gonna love this. I'm going Jalen Walker. He's been killing it this season. I mean, I feel like he could be anywhere on the field and still make plays. I mean, his stat line's crazy too. What is it? 30 tackles, 17 pressures, 8 QB hurries, 4.5 stacks, and 88.5 tackle percentage, which is highest among y'all linebackers. I mean, he killing it. So I'm gonna go with him. I mean, defense wins championships. Georgia, y'all back doing y'all thing, and he's clearly the best player on y'all defense right now. So I'm going with him.
I like it, Los.
I gotta agree with Grant. Go Trey Harris just off the simple fact that the numbers that he has line up with the numbers of the receivers from schools that play absolutely nobody. So the schools where SJSU, like I think he's up there with the Arizona receiver, but he was automatically known to be good. But schools like SJSU, they play absolutely nobody. Those receivers get off because there's nobody to guard them. Like,
yeah.
He's putting up numbers, and he's number 2 on the receiving charts in the whole country, matched up behind a SJSU receiver who is getting guarded by nobody while he's getting guarded by SEC cornerbacks. Like, that's highly impressive.
I feel it. I'm going to have to end this off, and I'm going to go Jalen Walker as well, just because I do feel y'all on Trey Harris. My biggest discrepancy with that is the simple fact that I feel like for you to be a player of the year, your great performances have to result in wins, to me. And they're not. He's not that great. I mean, I think he is, but at the same time, it's not good enough to result in some wins. And I think Jalen Walker gets that for me just because if Jalen Walker does not do what he did in that Texas game, not to say we don't win, it could be somebody else that does it, maybe in a different way or in a lesser form. But at the same time, we know Jalen Walker, when he is on that field and you see that number 11 on the field, he's dangerous, and he's probably going to result in a win. He's always going to be in the position to make a big play, whether he gets to the quarterback a little too late or not, or he makes it there. He's 9 times out of 10 in a good position, so I'm going to have to go Jalen Walker. But we can end it off right there, fellas. Any last final thoughts? We made some great picks today. Most of us went UGA, even Carlos, no faith in his team. We got most of us going house.
Boy, you cap as hell.
Bob. Except for Bob. But we're looking at a good Saturday, very good Saturday. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Catch us. I gotta re-say that. What the fuck was that? Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you catch us on Instagram, The Saturday Sanctuary on Instagram. We're coming to y'all live and direct again this weekend. Honestly, I think we're gonna be coming to y'all on Saturday. We're gonna get a live reaction from Evan. He may be happy, he may be sad. Either way, we're gonna have that live reaction from EV coming this Saturday after the Ohio State Penn State game at noon. Got UGA Florida at 3:30, and then of course we'll end the day with our big three: Pitt versus SMU at 8:00. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch y'all later, baby. We out.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
Hold on. Can I share this screen? Can I share this? Oh yeah, I can share this screen.
You better say something. You better say some
Huh?
While he's pulling that up, I would like to say, Coach Prime, get Thugger on the phone right now. He got to be on the sidelines this week. Get Thugger on the phone right now.
Can y'all see that?
You like your double jerk?
Oh, y'all can see this?
Yeah,
But y'all thought I was playing.
I don't.
Yes.
What's going on?
All right. You kept saying it.
I think this man finna show us.
The offensive coordinator Jared Parker told us yesterday, Jason, he needs to play, needs to get hit and respond.
Oh, it's showing horribly.
Hey,
I'm
bro,
just sitting in the group.
That's a sign. That is literally a
I'm just sitting in
sign.
the group.
That.
Don't trip.
He had the shake weight. Was that the shake weight?
Nah, it was the.
Oh.
Coordinator Jared Parker told us yesterday, Jason, he needs to play, needs to get hit and respond.
Go ahead, bro.
Come on,
Y'all
bro. It
ain't
was
seen
even
that?
worse because he did the double twisty. Like, come on, bro.
I'm out.
You said it and did it.
I told y'all what he did. I told y'all they was doing a bunch of bullshit on that sideline. Hey, I
All
didn't
right,
lie. It was no cap in my rap.
All right, but for K. Will, got your guy Carlos Enrique Montoya III, Charlie Conway, and of course Michael Harris II. We are out, baby. Catch y'all this week. Live reactions at the latest. We will catch y'all on Monday with some good reactions for the week. And we out. Saturday Sanctuary, baby. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We out.
Go Blue.
Go Dogs.